how did saints in the Old Testament get saved? By all means, they didn't know who Jesus was, they didn't know the gospel, and they surely weren't following the law perfectly. So how is it that they were saved? Simple. They believed on Jesus. Even though they didn't know him fully, they still believed on God for their salvation. And their faith was credited to them as righteousness. The Bible talks about this in Romans, that the gospel was preached ahead of time to Abraham, and Abraham believed God and it was credited to him as righteousness. And all the Old Testament saints, even though they didn't have access to the fullness of the gospel and had access to Christ, even still they believed on God for their salvation and it was credited to them as righteousness. So they believed on what was ahead of them, and what was ahead of them was retroactive. So those who believed on God before the fullness of the gospel was existent were still able to receive the benefits of the gospel because of their faith in God. They simply just believed on that which they did not fully understand and know, which we now have a better understanding of now because we know exactly who Jesus is. Jesus Christ's death on the cross was not just for anybody who existed during his time and afterwards, but it was for everybody for all time. So the Old Testament saints were saved through faith in God and his promises of salvation, which they had not been able to hear yet, but even still they believed on the living God. And they did not believe in vain, because salvation did surely come through the Lord Jesus Christ. And because of their faith, just like us, it was credited to them as righteousness, and absolutely we will see them in paradise. So if you ever wondered how the Old Testament saints got saved, it's simply because they too, like us, believed in God. They just had less information than we did. So I hope that this helped and that you learned something new. If you want more content like this, just go and drop a sub or a follow.